Hi guys, Dane here. This week I wanted to go over the seminar that I presented last night at Southern Suburbs in Parkdale. So for those of you that couldn't attend, I'll go through the information with a series of 3 videos this week. Today I'll go over how do you determine what good pain is and how do you determine what bad pain is and why do we find this question so hard as runners. In a couple of days I'll go over the tests that we can do to work out whether we should run or not. And then in the 3rd video at the end of the week, I'll go over the clinical reasoning process that you should go through in your brain and the questions you should ask yourself when you're trying to work out if you should modify your training or not when you've got pain. Alright, so I think you're going to find these videos quite useful. I'll get started right now. I'll go over what I'm going to go over today, and then I'll pump them out in every couple of days this week. Why do we find this question so hard? Well, as runners, running becomes a big part of our life. It's part of our identity. It makes us feel good. Our brain chemistry actually becomes reliant on it. It almost becomes a bit of an addiction and obsession. If we don't run, we feel a little bit grumpy and not quite ourselves. So because of this, if we don't run, we feel not quite right. So it's almost like sometimes when we have pain, this clouds our decision because sometimes we feel like we need a run for stress relief. And to make ourselves feel better because of the stresses in our life. So sometimes we keep running despite having pain, even just to maintain our mental health. But it's not just that aspect, it's also the fact that often we've got an impending race that's in 2 weeks. We're in career best shape. We've invested a lot of money in this race because it's overseas. Our family's going. So we're financially invested, we've invested time, a lot of effort, and it's been our dream all year. So as you can see, these kind of things make like choosing to rest when you've got pain hard. Then there's also the fact that to be a good racer, you need to be good at pushing through pain. So we pride ourselves on being able to push through pain. And then when we get a painful injury, it's almost like, well, oh no, I'm going to have to take a few days off. I'm going to have to change my training. I'm not going to be able to complete and tick off every day like I have for the last 6 weeks. And that's quite hard. Like you almost feel like you're lazy, and you're not trying. And as runners, we get confidence of ticking off our training. So it certainly is a hard decision. So when we are viewing this decision, we need to think third person about it. We need to put our passions aside. So what is good pain? Good pain is that kind of pain that just feels like a 1 or a 2 out of 10. So now I know pain is subjective, but it's that light sort of stiffness kind of pain. It generally warms up with running and throughout the day. So it doesn't last. So normally you might feel it here and there, but then it goes away. The pain doesn't last long after exercise, as I said. You feel a little bit, but then it goes away. It's not obviously swollen. It doesn't make you limp, so you can run normally once it's warmed up. You can walk normally for 30 minutes. You can do your day-to-day stuff like walking downstairs and all the things that you do in your day without noticing it too much. You can hardly feel it, as I said, throughout the day with activities. The general trend is it seems to be improving. What is bad pain? So on the contrary, bad pain is that stronger, sharper kind of pain or that constant sort of dull ache that doesn't seem to go away. It definitely impairs movement, so it makes you limp. It slows you down. It makes you limp throughout the day walking. It makes you limp running. You can't walk 30 minutes without feeling it. You feel it the whole time. Sometimes you even feel it at night and at rest. So it's aching that much that it wakes you up, or you notice it at night, or you notice it even when you're sitting down. Treatment and pain medications seem to not alleviate the symptoms. The pain seems to be getting worse with time rather than better. There's sometimes some visible swelling, and sometimes it can be associated with an old injury. So generally, if you've had an old injury and the pain is close to that, then sometimes that's bad pain. So that's bad pain for you, and that's good pain, and that's why the decision is hard as a runner. So in a few days, I'll go over the tests that we can do to determine whether it's good pain or bad pain, and whether we should run or not. And then I'll be back, and we'll go through that clinical reasoning process with a few case studies. All right, I hope you find this useful, and you'll certainly find it useful by the week's end.